What's up, YouTubers? Update number 14 on Chase's Caddy build. Hit a couple milestones. It runs, but only momentarily. We're working at the guys over at S&P. It's just an immobilizer issue. So once that gets handled and the ECU doesn't think it's in a stolen car, we're gonna be ready to rock. So thanks to the guys over there for taking care of that, jumping right on it. We really appreciate it. Wiring's all buttoned up, gauges are in, and if you guys recall from our last video, our next hurdle to clear was the clutch setup. So as you can see, we got most of the clutch setup in. Talked to you guys before about, because we've got an OEM, obviously, slave cylinder, we went with an OEM master. Now, obviously, this part of the firewall, a lot of congestion, especially on the other side. You've got your steering coming through here. Was able to find this sweet spot, and I don't know, maybe this isn't anything new. Maybe this is something all you VW guys already knew, but we were able to land this hydraulic cylinder here. There's a steel plate behind this. You can see it's MIG welded to the firewall. It's a mount for our hydraulic clutch. Now, we had a challenge with the hydraulic clutch versus the cable setup on the stock old 1981 setup. And here, let me explain it to you guys. I'm gonna show you on a sketch. So if we're looking at our pedal right here, and this is the side, right? There's where you press. On the stock setup, our pivot was here. So when we press on the pedal this way, right, it would send the part above the pivot in the opposite direction. The cable attached here, and it would pull the cable. The problem is, as you guys all know with the master cylinder, it's got to be a push setup. So when we put the master cylinder in, we were able to get it to clear the steering. The problem was the center line on the master was right below the stock pivot. Now here's why that's a problem. When you start getting into pedal geometry and all that fun stuff, if your pivot's here and your push rod for your master is here, the problem is your swing looks like that, right? And we're looking for motion this way. So the problem is the travel of the pedal is really only causing the end of the master to move in a sweep, right? Up and down. So what we did on our pedal is, if you remember where the stock point was where the cable attached, we moved our pivot as high as we could, okay? And then what that did was allow us to put the center line of our master cylinder right here. So now if you were to draw an imaginary line, right, and draw that arc, because you're much farther away, is a much flatter radius. It's able to actually push on the master cylinder instead of just do this loop thing. So now I'm gonna walk around, I'm gonna show you guys the pedal setup. All right, so we've got our clutch pedal in. We obviously want to keep the stock look right, so we use the stock pedal and we move the pivot up. Now, another thing we did, when you buy the master cylinder for an 03 like Jetta or TDI or whatever, it has a plastic clip on the end of it, like a pivot. So what we did is we just made basically a small little receiver, this little box, welded to the pedal that allows that plastic pivot clip to slip in, and then we have a set screw just trapping that plastic clip. So the nice thing is it clears the steering, it pushes on the master, it works nice. So it was definitely something, you know, that took a little bit of trial and error, but we got it to work. It clears. It allowed us to fix some other stuff too. There was a bushing missing out of the bottom of the column. We were able to tighten up the steering. So yeah, we're pretty happy with that. Like I said, it's a nice feature that you can go to any auto parts store and replace that master cylinder. Didn't have to modify the master either, which is great. So now that we got the majority of the clutch setup done, the pedal geometry handled, and the master cylinder mounted, we got to do a reservoir as well. So You guys know I like to scour Amazon for stuff. Went online, typed in aluminum reservoir. It's from a company called DNA Motorsports. Just really nice little aluminum reservoir, like 40 bucks, 50 bucks on Amazon. This is gonna be our reservoir for our master cylinder on our clutch. Now obviously space is at a premium. We're gonna be mounting this tucked up in here on a bracket, and then we'll have a line that goes through the bottom of the cowl. There's already a hole over here, a drainage hole, and it'll attach right here at the top of our master, okay? So that's the clutch side. So you'll notice too, it's obviously basically nearly overlapping our brake booster bracket. Because we had to remove a lot of material on the side of this bracket, I boxed it in top and bottom. I made these plates that really make the bracket rigid. And it's gonna help us out a lot because we had to remove material on the side. Another thing too, we kept this slot right here so you can actually get in and attach the nuts for the back of the booster and get a wrench in there and tighten them. So this worked out pretty clean. Again, we can get all our parts from an auto parts store. So we're gonna handle the reservoir, we're gonna get it mounted. Next thing is to bleed the clutch. That should be it on the clutch side. Then we'll get the brakes done and hardline them. We got some last little details. Just a little ECU mount. We're gonna use thick double-sided foam tape. We're attaching it right here, and it's gonna be on rubber isolators. So easy to get to, your clips are right on top, super accessible over by your battery. So that's one thing we gotta handle. Another thing too, obviously, we gotta do the grill. So probably in the next video, we'll show you guys our design for it. Me and Chase and his dad, we've been kicking back and forth some ideas, but we got something that we think is gonna look pretty clean. Another thing we're doing, originally we talked about, let's just bypass the heater core so we can get the car running. We're gonna finish it out right. Now we're gonna put in the AC compressor, and we're gonna get our heater control system in. We're gonna get the valve in, new heater core, which is nice. This is becoming a really complete and finished car. Other than that, guys, it's super close. Alignment, maybe a couple other little things, but yeah, man, I know Chase is looking forward to driving it. So am I, and this thing should be pretty damn peppy. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Next one we'll probably be driving.